The truth about psychic powers, it might surprise you. Well, I don't know, maybe it won't. Maybe it will not surprise you at all. But the fact is that there are many things that bring psychic powers into our awareness. And whether you're someone who is 100% sold out, you seem to be sold out, or if you are someone who 100% rejects them, we can't deny our curiosity and just the presence of psychism, psychic powers, and paranormal experiences in this human life. So we're going to talk about the nature and origin, if you will, of psychic powers, what they are. We're going to talk about a little bit about some evidence of it, who is actually researching it and studying it, and what that could possibly mean, or how it does or doesn't help us to understand what psychic powers are. And we're also going to talk about practical applications and the ethics of psychic powers. And that's the real hub of this, because I'm actually going to use my psychic powers to talk to you about the truth of psychic powers. And hopefully that'll just be a fun ride for you. So stay tuned for this podcast. The Charmed Life podcast is live now. Hello and welcome to the Charmed Life podcast. This podcast is all about magic, metaphysics, mysticism, and the unconditional love of the universe. And I am your host. My name is Tricia Carr. Right, welcome. My name is Tricia, as I said in that intro, and I am an intuitive. I'm an animal communicator. That was actually the first psychic power, if you will, that I opened up for myself, and that is something that is continuing to this day. Oops, that's not what I want to do. I'm producing my own live show here. There it is. Okay. And so animal communication, which is telepathically communicating with animals, was the very first skill or psychic power that I opened up in an intentional way. And so I'm also a channel and a spiritual teacher, which is why I'm up here doing this thing. And I started doing all of this in a specific and in focused and intentional way. Gosh, it was over 10 years ago now at this time. And the thing about that is, I am 50 years old, and so I started this approximately 10 years ago. So before I had my psychic phenomenon or my psychic powers turned on in a specific way, I didn't have that experience. So it's really pretty rad to recognize that if you're in any place of not having an experience of psychic powers being at your disposal, if you, for no other reason, want to trust me, that it can happen. And even if you've had it in a way that has been inconsistent, that you can also change that, or that might change for you, that you have a consistent experience of utilizing psychic powers. So as this is a live podcast, I want to welcome you to go ahead and drop a comment if you are here live. Say hello. Let me know where you are coming in from to watch this. We are live on YouTube and also on some Facebook outlets. And I believe we're live on X as well. Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. Looks like it probably worked today. So I want to hear from you. And also if you have any questions about what it is we're talking about, or if you want to share experiences, because I love to bring in all of the different experiences that people have with this. And Tracy says hello. It gives us a smiley face. And Tracy is someone that I know who is a very powerful psychic. And Brad says, galactic greetings. What a lovely greeting. Blessings received. Hello, Brad. Okay, let's talk about, again, I want to share with you how my origin story, a little bit of my origin story. Well, first of all, I did have psychic powers, psychic abilities when I was a kid, but I guess I didn't realize it. Certainly when I was a child, you're just natural. And that's the thing about psychic powers, is that they are perfectly natural. And I didn't recognize them as psychic powers. It was just being a kid. And then my family also didn't really make a big deal out of it one way or another. I mean, a lot of the people in my family have utility of their psychic abilities. So, for example, as I said, speed forward to later in my life at around age 40 when I opened up, had a spontaneous kind of spiritual awakening. It's not really spontaneous, but it sort of seemed like it. And when that opened up, it felt like it was a brand new thing. But in retrospect, after really expanding in the practice of having psychic skills and utilizing psychic powers, I realized I could look back at my life and I could see, well, my father and one of my sisters, I have 3 sisters that I grew up with. My father and one of my sisters were also animal communicators, naturally, and that we spoke in that language to one another in the household. And the other 3 members of the household, my other 2 sisters and my mother, it was clear that the 3 of us were having a different experience than they were, but they just kind of embraced it, just like one of my sisters was a really good dancer, and we just, okay, yeah, she dances, it was just sort of very easy and natural. And so we would communicate with one another like, oh, the cat said such and such. And then the person would say, yeah, I know, she told me that, and blah, blah, blah. And it was just very casual. It wasn't strange or odd or weird. It was just a part of conversation. Now, I kind of forgot about that as you move through life and you grow up. And when I would talk to my sister we still talked in that way. I don't know I think I just thought some people have this deep connection or like interest in animals. I didn't assume it was like a certain kind of ability or sensing that other people didn't have. I just assumed it was an interest. Again, just like someone who was very interested in art, cultivated that interest, and then when they look at a piece of artwork, they can see the brushstrokes and they can see the qualities of the colors that are very special and unique. And by the way, these are all the same things. That is very natural talent, or that you can develop into a skill to be either an artist that you actually paint, or an artist in the sense of receiving and interpreting and appreciating art. Art or creativity and intuitive or psychic abilities, these are all in the same area. They are all exactly, or at least on the same frequency, the same spectrum of energy working. So the difference, the reason it seems that we have this aversion or misunderstanding that's a bit more widespread about psychic powers is simply that they are so powerful that we've been a little bit afraid of our own power, and also just of the human condition subverting or releasing our own power in all kinds of ways. And since psychic powers or psychic utility, psychic expression is so quick, it is immediate, it is a thought that happens. That's what psychic powers are. It's a thought that happens in the manifested reality. Now, manifested reality could be something that you sense that is not present in a physical way, so how could I have known that? That kind of deal. It could be that you are able to remote view or have a telepathic exchange or see things that are non-physical, not in the physical reality, that can be verified as having a physical significance to someone else. There are many different ways that psychic immediate thought can be manifest into the tangible reality. And by the way, tangible reality is just by having a shared experience that others can validate. That's tangible. Speaking it, that's tangible. So the reason that has been, as of, now, even though it's opening up a lot more in our awareness, that it has been misunderstood. It really has to do with us disempowering ourselves. And I'm going to get into exactly what that means. And because it is so effective, immediate, and potent, psychic powers are effective, immediate, and potent. I'm going to check and see who's saying hello now. And Anissa says hello. Hi, nice to see you. And Tiffany says hello. Nice to see you, Tiffany. And Brad says, many people don't accept it being real or verifiable. And I'm going to talk about the verifiable or the evidence of it. So yes, thank you, Brad. Absolutely. And then Cal says hi. Thank you so much. And then JK7 says that I'm pretty. Oh, thank you. You're pretty too. Even though I don't even see a picture of you, I feel your pretty energy. So thank you so much for that. All right, so to our topic about psychic powers. And I hope you do stick around for the whole thing, because we're going to get to the nuts and bolts of what we mean by powers. If you read the description of this podcast, you would have seen that I said, I've actually had an aversion to the word power, especially as it concerns intuitive abilities or psychic abilities. I've had an aversion to that. And it was just this week-ish, sometime in the last several days, that I was in my trance work, communicating with my spirit guides, and they dropped into my consciousness, they dropped into my awareness this whole package of information about power and about psychic powers. So I'm just teasing you a little bit about where we're going with this. But let's talk first about the nature or the origin or the what psychic powers are and how they work. So psychic abilities, energy abilities, are completely natural extensions of the human life. And intuition and consciousness, we all are operating in that kind of a vehicle, if you will. In fact, that the energy of consciousness and the driver of intuition are not subject to your physical body or to time and space. So I'm going to say that again, because my guides are telling me to say this again, that this is the thing that will put the cart behind the horse for us. So tell it to me again. This is me talking to my guides. They say that your consciousness is the vehicle and the driver is your intuition, and that these awareness energy manifestations are not subject to time and space, which includes your physical reality. In fact, it's the other way around, that it is your consciousness and the intuition driver that pushes into manifested time and space. That time and space is a subject of consciousness, and then for the individual, for the autonomous entity, that the intuition of that, whether is sensing what is coming or sensing what it is one wants to create, that the intuition is also the focused energy that impresses upon time and space. That is true for absolutely every single one of us, whether we believe we're psychic or not. It's just fundamental to being a human. So these abilities stem from a deeper connection to the universal energy field. It's very important to remember that we're talking about the universal energy field. Universal means it is a whole system. It is a closed system. It is one system, like a pool of water. It is a deeper connection to the universal energy field, which is all leading to how psychic powers, that there is a true and ethical and healing, if you will, holistic creating energy about true psychic powers, because it is in the universal energy field, one field. So as it concerns like, oh, will I harm myself or others? If you are tapping into true psychic powers, you're tapping into your deeper connection of the universal energy field, the one field. And then in that, you aren't really capable of moving forward to harm yourself or someone else, because it is the pure energy of that universality. You see, it is much easier, if you will, to harm another person with your physical body than it is to harm someone in the non-physical energy, universal energy field. Because when one does that, they are intrinsically harming themselves as well, because you are in the one energy field. So this will allow, this deeper connection to the universal energy field allows an individual to perceive information that is beyond the ordinary or the physical sensing and those channels of physical sensing. It is above and beyond. So once again, the energy sensing or the perception that is beyond the physical senses is the actual cause to the effect of physical senses. So one thing that people get, again, backwards is that we think if we wanted to use our psychic powers or our psychic perceiving senses, we try to use our physical senses for the psychic connection. And it's an untangling that I think we never truly end, however much we are advancing and making our psychic skills sharper and more refined. It is something that we're always kind of pulling apart, is that the intention of a psychic perceiving is not the same as the utility of a physical sensing. And it certainly is something that from the, I would say, the either you call it like a stubborn skeptic, someone who is just going to naysay anything about psychic phenomena, that they just assume because they don't have that sensing and that it's not possible with physical senses, that it's just not possible. But again, that is a subset. The physical reality is the smaller reality within the energy reality. So by understanding just simply that, putting the perspective back in the right place, that you are tapping into a deeper universal energy, and that deeper universal energy, that greater universal energy, is the greater energy, not the other way around, that it is that energy field that possesses the physical. It requires an expansion to that understanding. Then we're able to tap in, harness those innate and natural abilities, and then to actually channel and access higher levels of awareness and insight, and actually to use those for manifestation. So, manifestation, creating something in your reality by the channeling of psychic energy, by channeling psychic powers. How this is possible and how it goes wrong, it's possible because everything that is experienced in existence, your existential functioning in all kinds of levels, during this life, after this life, before this life, all of it, is thought-based. So when a person is maybe doing law of attraction stuff and, using these different techniques and it's not working, it's because we need to clean up our thought energy. And it's the thought energy that is, some of it is unconscious to us. It's something that we've hidden in our conscious awareness. And also, there's a bit of a double bind or a trick here. Because when we are trying to manifest something, then we are in the state of not manifesting. It's Yoda, right? Yoda said, try not, do or do not. So trying is the not experiencing. So when we're trying to manifest, we are not manifesting. So this is the conundrum that we seem to get into in our confusion about how to use psychic powers for manifestation. And I think it might be easier sometimes for people who are practiced intuitives, people who are doing it as a really refined skill. It might be easier for them to service others by giving readings and healing for others because of the objectivity that is just naturally there. However much you care for the other person who would be your client or your sitter, however much you care for them, it's easier for you to have simpler thoughts about seeing for them or manifesting and depositing that manifestation energy into them because you haven't been overthinking it because it's not yours. And so for intuitives, practicing intuitives and psychics, we need to work a little bit harder, if you will, or add a little more focused energy to cleaning up our thoughts around our own manifestation. So along the lines there, I actually want to share something with you, which is I have in August, I have a course, or it's actually like two courses you can combine into one course, and it is my intuitive ability psychic development. It's coming up. These are 4 Sundays. You could actually just do 2 of them. You can do level 1 on its own, or you could do level 2 on its own. And you can also bundle them together. So I'm putting here in the chat for those of you who are live, and it's also in the description. So these are happening August 2024, starting August 4th. We have a full day class, deep dive, and it's all live. I have done this many times over, and I'm reproducing it because we just got a lot of stuff going on in this world, and this universalized energy is key to it. And so if you want to tap into it for your life, if you want to tap into it so that you can make this world a better place and this human race a better place, that's why I'm inviting you. And that's why I'm recreating these, even though the legacy content of this is really fantastic and actually is available for people. If you sign up, you can start watching, you can start experiencing it right now. You get like a bonus if you sign up earlier, because you can go through hours of content to already start to learn and shift that understanding and shift that perspective for yourself. It's all about resonance. It's all about immersing yourself in resonance in the language of the psychic power, because it's in a lot of ways very similar to learning a new language. You can learn a new language in several weeks by immersing yourself in it, right? And then also executing it, practicing it. You can sit in your car all day long and listen to and immerse yourself in it, which is really great. And then you're going to start to change how you perceive and open up new language pathways in your energy, in your mind. And then we also want to release the words of that language. And that's exactly how this works. You immerse yourself in the education. You also immerse yourself in the commune. So we have this osmosis of the energy coming in together. And then on the second Sunday, so the 4th is the first Sunday, the second Sunday, we actually go to a practice and community circle where we actually can practice our psychic powers. So we've got level 1, that's the first and second Sunday in August. And then we have level 2, which is the 3rd and 4th. And I just encourage you, wherever you are, this is for all levels. Did I put all of the things in there? Let me make sure I'm getting all the things in there. Wherever you are in your interest or your experience, it's for you. That's what this is about. And so I think I did put that in there. So then the last thing I want to mention to you is that my if you want to say more advanced course is also open for enrollment. It's advanced, but it's still all levels are welcome. And these psychic development classes are included in it. And so that's Astral Mastery. In Astral Mastery, it's so powerful. We're also cultivating telepathy, lucid dreaming, intuitive dreaming, self-initiated astral projection, and also just our astral awareness, like our stellar awareness, meaning we are cultivating where we are currently in our world for having first contact with our star brethren so that we can advance in this life. So let's see what else we got going on here. Cleaning up. Good buzzwords. I'll remember that. Yeah, cleaning up your thought energy so that you can focus it. Because when we're talking about cleaning up the thought energy, the contradictory thoughts about being able to harness your psychic powers and then point them forward for the purposes of creating and manifesting, the contradictory thoughts, what they amount to are simply a lack of love. What they amount to is some kind of separation or some kind of rejection. That might be a rejection of yourself. It might be a doubt, a fear, a worry, or any of those things that are actually some kind of a departure from love. And the only true power is love. And I'm going to unpack that here in just a bit. That was actually the download that helped me to heal from my aversion about power and this word of power in general, but especially as it concerns psychic powers. So we have, I want to see who says hi here. This is Paul says hello from Pennsylvania. Hot 52 outside. Okay. And then he said, wait, no, 93. It's really hot here as well. And Jim says, great wisdom there. Thank you. Glad you repeated that. You have great guides around you. Oh, well, thank you so much. I appreciate that, Jim. So nice to meet you. Yes, thank you. We do. I have great guides around me. We all have it. And that's the thing that's so amazing. So thank you. They want to remind me to tell us all that it's actually when we cross a certain threshold of using our psychic awareness, using our psychic powers, then for ourselves, it's easier to hear our guides or to receive or sense their messages. It's harder for us to follow them. And that's because of all of the, things that we're working against to clean up our thought energy, to clean up, how we've been conditioned in this world, in this society. and to trust it, to trust ourselves. And our guides of light, our spirit guides, are gentle. They are here to help us to find that power from within, because they don't want to force things on it. That would take away our power. And spirit guides, true loving guides of light, operate by the power of love, which is the only true power. All right, so we talked a bit about what are the nature of psychic powers, what they are, what they can do. They can help us to sense things that are not physically obvious, not obvious to our physical senses, and that information according to our intention of how we want to draw it in, and that can help to, and in itself, receive a healing, aligning energy for yourself, as in if you're using it for yourself, or for another, if that's who you are offering that insight for. And then with this focused tapping into the universal energy and then focusing it forward, we can actually manifest into physical reality. And it has to do with the having a clarity of focused thought, which is, again, what we want to say is loving, and continuing to clean up that frequency. And we will be right back. Empowered Empath. This is a program designed for the sensitive soul, for the person with that empathic nature. And by the way, that is a healing ability. However, this is a healing ability that you can't turn off. You cannot turn off your empathic nature, because it's more than just a psychic or healing ability. It is also how you are designed. So the Empowered Empath is a powerful program that is also gentle, consists of 4 modules with 8 life-altering lessons, 4 aura tuning meditations, and we have bonus group healing and coaching sessions that are coming up really soon. You definitely want to check the show notes so you can see when those are coming up. You have access to it for a whole year. You'll be able to continue to water the garden of your empathic nature. You'll learn how to feel centered and peaceful as a sensitive person, how to use your gifts as a superpower that they are meant to be, and you'll be receiving attunement and healing and new life strategies to live in the power and purpose of your sensitive nature. It's especially tailored for those who want to turn their empathic and sensory overwhelm into intuitive strength. It is immersive yet very gentle program, and it's suitable for all levels of development. And I especially recommend it for those whose human design body graph reveals that they have an undefined emotional solar plexus. So if you are just ready to turn that sensitive sponging into the thing that we really need right now, we need your sensitive genius shining on this planet to be in the high frequency, high functioning of your sensitive superpower. So join Empowered Empath. You have access to the lessons starting right away. Oh, by the way, it's very affordable and even comes with payment plans. Only $177 for all of this content, and you can make a payment plan of 3 months or 6 months. I made it extremely affordable and accessible because I know what it's like to need the help. So if it's your first time of really healing your empathic nature, or you need to do it another time, this is the program for you. I can't wait to see you there. This is Tricia Carr. I'm inviting you to Astral Mastery, the ultimate intuitive expansion, human design, and astral exploration program, designed to elevate your astral awakening journey at any stage. Whether you're a novice or a seasoned explorer, you are offered an adventure into the depths of intuitive development and the vastness of spiritual expansion, a 6-month journey which offers you the choice to fully participate in the live training and coaching sessions, or to learn and observe passively. If you would like to expand your intuitive abilities, your intuition, your human design experiment, and to cultivate spiritual abilities such as astral projection, remote viewing, lucid dreaming, and so much more, then join this program. We can't wait to journey with you. And now back to the show. We also have this misunderstanding, this misconception that some psychics are good, some psychics are talented. And I'm not saying that's not true, but the effectiveness and the relevancy of how those psychic powers are executed and manifest have entirely to do with always cleaning up the frequency or that thought energy. So No one's ever perfect. And no one is ever, this is people who are skeptics or naysayers of it think, well, then why can't you just fly? Well, why do you have any kind of issues in your life? Because it isn't something that is circumventing the physical experience. It is empowering us from that place. Okay. Our next point is, I thought I heard a little bit of a static. Let's get back to it. The second thing we want to talk about is empirical evidence about psychic powers, even scientific. So there are people who want to insist that it's only relevant if it falls under the scientific method. And so there's a problem here, but there's also something that is very interesting. The problem here is that it is like trying to make art a scientifically verifiable experience, saying, oh, we can run this. This is good art because we've run it through the scientific process. The scientific method has validated that this is the best piece of artwork. That doesn't make any sense. And that is the thing that is not entirely possible, because no matter what, it is your tapping into the deeper connection that you have with the universal energies. So there is evidence, there's an anecdotal kind of evidence that comes through because you are between two people saying, yes, my subjective, my individual experience aligns with this, with another person who is demonstrating psychic powers. And you might have several people who will say that, yes, my subjective experience is aligning with this execution of psychic powers. But that's still not enough. It's still not something that can be put entirely into a strict scientific method, because a scientific method is about a repeatable result no matter what. But we're talking about an individual tapping into the universal. An individual is always subjective, always moving, always changing, always shifting. Having said that, there is so much manifestation, so much evidence of psychic phenomena that it is being studied. There's plenty of research studies, documented cases, and empirical evidence that actually help to provide a grounded understanding, or at least a grounded observation of psychic powers. And you've heard of the field, I'm sure, of parapsychology. There is a research center called the Rhine Research Center. It's spelled RHINE. And it's the Rhine Research Center of Noetic Sciences, and they explore telepathy and clairvoyance and psychokinesis. And this emphasizes that there is just a growing body of evidence that supports the existence of psychic powers, psychic abilities, and their potential applications. We also have, there's an author and a scientist named Dr. Dean Radin. His books and his research is really very applicable, very amazing to this field as well. Now, the issue is it can't be put squarely and entirely into science in many ways. And yet, we also have the emergence for the last, 80, 100 years, I'm not really sure, of quantum physics. And quantum physics, as I've been in several lectures, probably about a dozen lectures of quantum physicists coming together. I don't have a lot of business being there because I ain't a scientist, but I still like to go and just be in the energy, immerse myself in it, and see what I can pick up. But one thing I have picked up is I think every single time that I've heard quantum physicists getting together, at one point someone says something along the lines of, paraphrasing, quantum physics is just starting to put evidence to what mystics have been experiencing for centuries. So I don't know. We're in this really incredible place. And we're also in this place where we can maybe allow the thing that is relevant and helpful to just be without needing to control it or define it. And by the way, we already have that in like medicine so many times. And I've been so blessed with really great health in this life. And I've also had like my animals and different things, but so many times in my life, for myself or, my family members, where there will be a medical result, an improvement, and the diagnosis and the treatment didn't make sense for the improvement. And the doctor just says, well, we don't know. Sometimes it just happens. So, because it's relevant and important for physical well-being, for medical healing, medically relevant healing to occur, we just kind of go, okay, we're just going to let it happen. And that's where we are. I believe quantum physics and just the fact that the information age has made it so that it is impossible to deny it to a certain degree. What we call paranormal events aren't paranormal. They're normal. They are a part of our lives. They aren't supernatural. They are natural. They are a part of our lives. They are here. And this also leads us to like UAP sightings, which is, UFO and things that are just undeniable at this point. And so it is also my observation and my downloads from my guides that it is that the awareness is spreading so that, yes, things like the technology that we are exchanging with benevolent extraterrestrial civilizations who are here with us, helping us, who are universalized in their connection. So they aren't here to harm us, just like our spirit guides. They aren't here to circumvent us or to disempower us. In fact, they are here to support and help us. And they are doing this, again, along what we would call love, along the frequency of universalized connection. All right. So let's talk about practical applications and the ethical considerations of psychic powers. Because people want to know, people get nervous sometimes, that we believe that we can create harm. Or, it's funny, people will be like, oh, mind reading and that kind of stuff I'm not saying it's not possible and it's not true, but it honestly requires the permission. Now, and your fear of it is permission because your fear of it is disempowered. And so we do sometimes need to, if we're shifting into our excitement to cultivate psychic powers, we have to shift into the awareness and the empowered position that it is thought energy that I am entirely masterful over. No one can make me think anything. It feels like that sometimes. It feels like someone can make me feel something or someone can make me think something. That is the experience, but it's not the truest truth. The fact is, right now, if I said to you, what is an apple? Have you ever seen an apple before? Think of an apple. You can think of an apple if you want to. And now I've suggested it many times, so it seems like, you can't but think of the apple. But the thing is, if you chose to instead think of an orange, think of an orange, think of an orange, you can replace apple with orange, regardless of what I'm suggesting to you. And then also it has to do with the fact that you've decided to be in my company where I am suggesting to you, think of an apple. You see all of the places where you've given permission for your thought to align with something and for you to agree to think something. So that is the thing we need to shift into, is your sovereignty of thought. This is the thing that will heal our whole lives. Because if we can recognize that it's actually good news, that abusive relationship I was in, that I gave permission for that. Now, of course, I had a childhood who they kind of groomed me to be able to have lowered self-worth and blah, blah, blah. But you see, it's good news to know that I can not be in an abusive situation. I can recognize red flags and say no to it. You see what I mean? Like this is good news to shift to the perspective that I am entirely in management of my thoughts and feelings. And that's how the ethical utility of psychic powers aligns. Because you can always say no to it. You can block it. You cannot be a part of that psychic conversation, if you will. So then it does become a beautiful work because psychic powers are immediate. There is no delay to it because it's all in energy and there isn't the need for materialization to validate the psychic power. It is a great then trajectory in the life working with psychic powers to help you to grow, to help you with your decision making, to help you with your healing, to help you with boundaries, to help you with respecting yourself and others, to also making sure there is consent in how you are interacting with others, making sure that you're not crossing your own boundaries. These are all wonderful symptoms, if you will, of cultivating psychic powers. And these are all a part of the ethical considerations that just make us better humans, better parts of society. And so when we're integrating and activating psychic powers responsibly, meaning your ability to respond with your thought and your feeling, then we can really harness our capacity for positive change, to contribute to a harmonious world, to heal our world, to heal our society, to heal, to heal, to heal. Because once again, we are tapping into universal energies. So finally, the thing that my guides dropped in on me is that if you are here and you're listening to this or watching this, then they want me to say you are ready to shift to the full and complete, if you want to call it belief, if you want to call it paradigm, perspective, thought, let's call it sovereign awareness. You are ready to stand in the sovereign awareness that love is the only true power. Love is the only true power. Love is the only true power. You see, I'll tell you how we can, from the simplest metaphysical view, if there was a creator, source energy, whatever you call it, it actually wasn't even a creator or source energy before it created. All that is was nothing that is until there became something, right? So then that prime creator energy, when it created this resonant energy between creator and creation, that resonant energy is love, or what it feels like love to us. It's resonance is what it is, and resonance feels like love. And so that is the only true power. That is the point of creation. That is how creator creates. So if we can feel, again, the good news of the fact that even in all of the situations where there is a misuse of power in this world, maybe it's somewhere along the multidimensional choice to be in the demonstration of how if the person who has submitted themselves to the place where they are being harmed by the misuse of power, perhaps from the soul perspective, they're doing it out of love, to be able to show how this is not love. And it is clear to us. So the way that we shift into it with that sovereign, insistent awareness that love is the only power, that we spread that purely, and that actually heals. And we connect to one another. We still do the things that we do in this 3D life, yes, of course, but we can stand in that sovereign awareness, recognizing, once again, that the universality of complete energy awareness is the prime energy, and that the subset of it is physical reality. Consciousness is the vehicle, intuition is the driver, and all that you need to do is to insist on love. And that's really easy for you to do. No one is confused about, in a pure thought, in a pure state, in a pure feeling, no one is confused about what love is. We know exactly what it is. We know what it feels like. So the only true power is love, and that is very, very good news. Oh, goodness. So I'm going to see what we got here on, isn't the etheric plane higher than the astral plane? Yes. I mean, and this is a great question. This is semantical work, but yes, the astral plane is basically the plane that starts right at thought, right most proximate, if you will, to the third dimension or the physical reality. It starts here, and then we've got many densities even in a dimension. So if we call astral is a first place of a fourth dimension, and so if what we do though is we step into that, even the very proximate, even the, if you will, lowest density of 4D in order to continue to expand. So you see, when we expand, we have to expand through all of the layers of the realms or the planes. So yeah, astral is generally considered, that it is lower, if you will, than etheric. Etheric is a bit higher. I would call etheric really at the cusp of 4D and 5D. So in a higher density of 4D and lower density of 5D. So that would be the expansion that we're moving into. And so just to put a finer point on this, last night and we had Astral Mastery. That's my ultimate intuitive expansion program. I put the link in. It's both in the description and it's in the live chat as well. Last night we activated the Merkaba. And so the Merkaba it contains all of you. And so it is your light vehicle. It is basically your light body, which is expanding all through these arenas. And that is what we must activate in order to move into any higher plane or any expanded plane of ourselves and of the universe. But yeah, thank you for that. It's a really fun question. I appreciate it, Brad. Are there any other thoughts or questions? And Brad, oh, thank you, Brad, said I have good explanations. And thank you so much. All right. So I'm going to see if you guys have any more questions or comments while I also remind you about my programs that are coming up. Intuitive Ability, Psychic Development. It's so beautiful too. The community is so amazing. I've been teaching people for about 10 years, I guess, maybe a little less than 10 years. At this point, hundreds of people who, like me, didn't have, or at least were living with the experience or belief. I say experience because I didn't know or witness in my life that I had psychic powers or that psychic powers were anything. I saw other people on TV shows and everything. I was like, well, I don't know, they're having an experience. They don't seem insane or like they're lying. So maybe that's just something that some people have. But then I did have a somewhat, it seemed spontaneous awakening to it. And it was really amazing. So I will tell you about, in a nutshell, the first time I saw an evidence of my intuitive abilities actually occurring. And that was, I was actually doing a healing program with a coach to work on healing my empathic nature, because I'm a 5-1 reflector, if you know about human design. I'm a reflector, so, all of the centers are open and, empathic. And so I, in this coaching program, we sort of uncovered that I was an animal communicator. It was a vision that I was having. And the coach, the healer, she was like, that's what it is that we're here to uncover today. You're an animal communicator. And I was like, that's crazy. I don't even know if I believe in that. And I had actually brought to that session my concern for this cat who was showing up on my porch. And this cat was pregnant. And she was feral and she was looking in the window at me. And I was telling this, it's so funny, I didn't know I was an animal communicator, because I said, she's looking at me and it's like she's saying, I need help. And I even use the language she's saying it to me. And so after that coaching session that day, I went out and this cat, subsequently I named her Helen. Helen was there, again, looking in through the glass at me like, I need help. Clearly very pregnant. And so I just tapped in and I could just imagine, I was just sending my telepathic energy and thought to her and just said, do you need help? And I heard in my inner narrative, I can't have these babies. And by the way, that was not what I preferred to hear going into it. I hoped that she would have said to me, if I had an experience of feeling like I was listening to her, my bias would have told me, no, I'm cool, man. I don't need any help. I'm great. I've got food and comfort, and I'm going to have these babies and it's going to be fantastic. It's harder to intervene. It's harder to help, right? So that was not my bias. My bias was the opposite, that I didn't want to intervene. I wanted to learn that everything was fine. So anyway, I heard her several times say, I can't have these babies. And so, long story short, I did trap her and take her to the doctor, and they terminated the babies, they terminated the pregnancy, but the doctor told me, you got her here just in time, because if she had gone into labor, it was clear that those babies that there were 3 of them, that they were not going to be able to be, like, one was going to get lodged, they were not going to be born, like this wasn't going to happen. It was going to just kill her and kill all of them. So as I heard her say, I can't have these babies, she literally meant I can't, it's not happening. I can't have these babies, help me. So that was my first evidential experience with my intuitive abilities. And Helen lived with me for 8 years after that. She actually stayed on my porch. We had an agreement that she was going to remain outside. She had a partner named Tom, and they were just in love, absolute ridiculous love for 8 years. And they had homes on my porch. They had these little heated houses and a big house, and they had food every day, and just wonderful. So that's what happened. So let's see. Moshe says, how can I get a better financial life? Well, how we can do that is to hold a positive view of that and then let it day by day take the action. Imagine it's like watering the garden, that as we're watering the garden and we're nourishing it, that something will grow, that there will be the nourishing of that energy. So it's kind of, that's the simplest way I can answer that. There will be actions that are taken from the positive state, the inspired state of positive focusing. It does eventually give us answers. And then there are other extenuating circumstances like the cycles of life. When whole economies are in recession or depression, that's affecting people. So that's a cycle. And so then within that cycle, we hold still the most positive view that we can, and then we see how we can continue to cultivate abundance. But abundance is more than money. Abundance is more than finances. But it is relevant and important to us to feel healthy in that area as well. So it's good for us to recognize that if we can start to hold the awareness, hold the thoughts, the pure thoughts, that I can have health and well-being in the area of finances, that's the first place for it. My husband and I were talking yesterday because my husband, this is not about finances, but it's completely transferable to finances. My husband was talking about he has like these kind of chronic little back issues. Well, I say little, sometimes they're little and sometimes they were a bit debilitating. And he discovered that if he did a certain kind of rolling out with the foam roller and a certain kind of exercise and yoga, just physical therapy, and he actually discovered it on his own, by trial and error. And he didn't even come by advice. So he's just so excited because he's like, I found this and I feel like it's solved something that has been chronic for me for decades of my life. And he didn't really happen upon it. He came into it because he kept holding a positive, curious, and a state that it can be resolved, that there is a possibility. So that's what actually allowed him to keep that trial and error process going forward, as opposed to giving up, having negative thoughts about it, perhaps doing some other habits that would then negatively impact that, and maybe eventually having to do something really drastic that may not even resolve the problem. I mean, like surgery. Not to say that surgery is always bad. I just mean like he, at least right now, because of his positive focusing about trying and the trial and error process of finding the thing that works for his body to resolve this chronic health issue. We have the same thing for other areas of our life. That is something that we have with finances, with the wealth and money aspect of our life. That is just something that is a state that becomes a behavior, just like everything else. And if we can let it be demystified by just having that perspective, I think that's a first step for us. I hope that's helpful. And then JK says, great story. Thanks for sharing. I felt like I was right there. I even clapped out loud here in my living room. Oh, thank you. Oh, that's beautiful. Miko says me too. All right. Okay, so one more reminder about my intuitive ability psychic development classes, courses. It's actually all Sundays in August. You can take level 1 alone, level 2 alone, or you can take level 1 and 2 and immerse yourself in this incredible expansion and beautiful community. So I'm going to pop that in here again. There is $100 off if you take both of them together. And so I'm putting that in there, but you can see through that link how to sign up for the other ones. I also have a really amazing, extremely affordable community that it's a membership for only $11 a month, and it's called Modern Mystic. And we actually, right before I came on today, we had our monthly live group meditation, and it was really beautiful. And we got together on Zoom, and I led a meditation. And then I'm going to produce that with beautiful audio that my husband actually composes, and I'm going to deliver it for everyone to be able to listen to anytime they like. We also have a monthly workshop, a 2-hour workshop, interactive, working on some really cool stuff. Like, let's see, what did we do last month? I think it was the month before last, we actually learned about NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. Sometimes we get together and I channel and do readings and deliver, healing. And it's only $11 a month. But the other thing that's really cool about it, it's kind of like having a premium subscription to a podcast, because I deliver, I say 2 to 4 times a week, but I'm pretty much at 5 days a week. I deliver through just SMS text messenger exclusive content. So it might be, right now we're reviewing a workshop on holy flame energy. And so you'll get, like a 10 or 15 minute audio or video to be able to move along in that it can immerse yourself in spiritual content and spiritual languaging, in positive languaging. And then I'll also give you other things like a meditation, and it's just ways for you to move yourself. It's called Modern Mystic because, well, one thing, there's no login necessary. It all just comes right to your text messenger. And that's really cool because even if you unsubscribe, which you could unsubscribe anytime you want, you could actually go back and continue to receive that. You could review all of that content anytime you want. So it's really rad. And but also modern because it's set up so that it's easy, so that you can, be able to move through this life with all of the things that we have going on, and have a little bit of ways that you can come together in community a couple of times per month, listen to replays too, which is just like time traveling. It's like you were there, just like you guys were all there with me in the story with Helen, the cat, and her healing. And the same kind of stuff is going on there. So anyway, did I put it in the chat? I did. Yeah. So you can go to my website, which is Tricia Carr Charm, and under courses, you'll see Modern Mystic subscription, just $11 a month. So, Jesse says, I loved your Damien Eccles interview. Thank you. He's actually been on 3 times. He was on twice. And actually, it's funny that you say that because I just, on Thursdays, which is today, I do a Throwback Thursday on Modern Mystic, which I'm like, hey, check out this podcast from before. And I actually gave the Damien Eccles podcast to everyone today in the Modern Mystic. So, he was on with High Magic, and then he was on with his book, Angels and Archangels, A Magician's Guide. And then he was on last year, I think, and it was for the Opus School of Magic, I think it's called. I can't remember, started with an O. I think it was Opus School of Magic. So he and his partner in that school, they came on. So yeah, he's wonderful. And I just enjoy our friendship, and he and his wife are really lovely people. So I'm so glad you came here through that. Okay, so I guess, it's so funny that you say that, Jesse, too, because I think I got a download just yesterday that I might be in Modern Mystic Workshop that's this month, that's in a couple of weeks, that we're actually going to go over the LBRP, the Lesser Banishing Ritual of the Pentagram. I think that we're going to be doing that. I'm not sure, but I thought about it yesterday, but maybe it's because we knew we were going to be connecting today on High Magic and, Damien Eccles. All right. Well, that's what I have for you. I would really love to work with you and connect with you more. Thank you for, subscribing to the YouTube channel and for following the podcast and for just being here. If you go to my website also, I encourage you to sign up for my newsletter, because that's really where the most, the easiest way I communicate with people. Like right now, those intuitive development classes, they're not even on my website right now. I've just been delivering them over, I think I put them up there today, but I've been delivering them, just over the newsletter. And, but also Modern Mystic. So that's what I have for you today. And I just so appreciate you immersing yourself in positivity, because again, love is the only true power. And I believe in you. I believe in your psychic powers to help to make this world a better place. so that you can shine your light on our beautiful world and make it a better place. And I just am so grateful for you. So with that, as I always end the podcast with, thanks for tuning in. I love you, whoever you are.